trying to get my head around whether and how much I talk about this, so I'll try to keep it brief, but there's a pet project I have, pun is intended, and I'm just trying to get we have a cat population across the street that started to come over to the monastery, and so there's the last count I got for just the ones that are remaining in one cat colony is 24. The other one had about 16, and there's some in the Santi Vihara shed that we're waiting to get spayed and neutered anyway. It's sort of, it's definitely weighing on my mind, and I thought, what have I got myself into? But it's just another thing that we take on, something that, not we, I'm taking it on, but the senses, and to a certain degree, some of the community members are helping with the ride, so that's incredibly helpful. But it's sort of like the sense of often when we imagine how something's going to be, and it just fits into a tight, neat little box. And then, this can happen all the time with so many things we do, just little things throughout the day or some project or whatever. We'll have about possibly 22 monks here, and the weekend of the 20th, and it's sort of like imagining, it'll be fine, and of course it will. But then there's, logistics, who's going where, and who's going to be in this place and that place. I didn't think about that. And so, at least in my experience, like for now, I'm actually dealing with something even more challenging. Is one of the cats got sick, and so I'm having to administer medicine. And that seemed very easy to think about doing, but it's actually incredibly challenging. So this kind of sense of just like, how did this happen, or how did I get here? And either do I need to pull back and stop, or just let go? And oftentimes we figure these things out. We do them through trial and error, and we just try not to suffer around it. But that's the thing that's often forgot, is the suffering. It's like that's tangential to whatever is actually happening. That we shouldn't be suffering, or that shouldn't be part of it, or how did this happen? And often, of course, like in this situation, it happened because I got myself into it. But in terms of exploring that sense of really looking at, how does dukkha arise and how do we deal with it, rather than how do we condition ourselves to believe that we're not going to have it, or we're going to fit ourselves into our perfect plan of how everything is going to work out. It's just never that way. It's always a sense that there's constantly change. We're dealing with a community and other people. We think we're living with the same people each day, but we're not really. Each person has their own trials and tribulations, their emotions that come up, and we might think, this person's predictable like this, and then all of a sudden something happens, and we realize, that's not what I expected. How did that happen? And it's an amazing reaction, because I think even without the Buddhist teachings, human beings should just naturally get the message each day. It's constantly changing. It's not in our control. And every time we pull against that and say, no, this is in my control, I can't figure it out and make it exactly how I want it, we just proportionally suffer based on that. So one of the main tasks is, as we're practicing each day, is we'll just keep paying attention to what we do know. We do know the experiences within our own bodies. We do know the experiences in our minds. And we don't have to move out of that or against it, away from it. And so the way that we can kind of try to coax ourselves into this is just to remind ourselves, like, no, this is just normal. This is natural. The suffering each day, this kind of plans not working out, people saying something that I didn't want them to say, or was, very unpleasant for me to hear. This is just normal. And this is just really part of daily life existence. And as Ajahn Kurunama gave a talk about right speech yesterday, we can do something about this, but the thing that's going to harm us the most is when we expect it to be differently, because it's that expectation that often not only increases our dukkha, but it complicates and creates more and more delusion within our habits of our minds. And so, whatever it is that's happening today, whatever our plans are, whatever's happening with the work period, or what we're supposed to do in the afternoon, or Ajahn Yanako is going to pick up Ajahn Kantiko, and probably there's some sense of what that's going to be like, but it's always going to be different than that. Ajahn Guy is going to go see our nurse practitioner this morning, and yeah, we'll see. Maybe he'll be out sick. So just our conditioning around that is just to keep working with these unknowns, and to always know it's not in our control. And what we can do to stay sane and keep ourselves happy and peaceful is just to remind ourselves of that, and just focus on what we do know, focus on what we can experience. And that's really the understanding of Dhamma within. Well,